and Mr. Jose Luis Vargas. Professor Williams-Leon.
皆さん、ようこそ. Welcome, everyone. This is Teresa Williams-Leon. I'm a professor in Asian American Studies. Congratulations to our Asian American Studies 2021 graduates and student awardees. Welcome, honorable guests, students, faculty, staff, and administrators. And to parents and family and friends, you must be equally, if not more, proud of these amazing graduates and student awardees who persevered during a deadly pandemic and a tumultuous period of anti-Asian violence and hatred. We are so proud of all of you. アジアン・アメリカン研究学部卒業と学生表彰、誠におめでとうございます。本当に皆さんよく頑張りましたね。心からお祝いを申し上げます。On behalf of CSUN's Asian American Studies Department, we would like to welcome you to this momentous occasion and celebration, our 2021 graduation and awards ceremony. Professor Gamboa Wong, are we ready to do this? 3, 2, 1. And now we introduce
our department chair,
Dr.
Anae Shrake.
Good morning, class of 2021 and student awardees. 축하합니다. I'm Professor Anae Shrake, chair of the Asian American Studies Department. It is my pleasure to welcome you to the Asian American Studies graduation reception and student award ceremony for 2021. We extend our deepest congratulations to you and your families. We are extremely proud of you, all of you. Today, we will be sending up our graduates to their next chapter in life. For student awardees, today, we will honor your achievements and success. The Asian American Studies Department was born out of struggle, of love, of dedication by students like you, faculty, administrators, and community supporters. 2021 graduates and student awardees, please remember that you are part of that important legacy of our struggle. We can't wait to see how you will go and make the world a better place. To be there for our Asian American and Pacific Islander communities, so in need of your expertise and your skills. For our 2021 Asian American Studies graduates, you now have the tools necessary to impact, change, and uplift our communities. The world needs your great minds, your passion, and your dedication to social justice. This program would not have been possible without the generous support from the College of Humanities Dean's Office, Office of Student Services, and Equal Opportunity Program, as well as individual donors. Now, Dr. Jackie Storka, Dean of the College of Humanities and gracious friend to Asian American Studies, will address our graduates, their families, and friends.
Thank you. A big welcome to everyone who's here. And of course, many thanks to everyone who made this happen. I know that these programs are a lot of work and it's all worth it when it comes together so beautifully as today. I'm so happy to be here this morning. You know, award ceremonies are such a joyous and happy occasion. They're a time to kind of slow down for a moment and kind of really appreciate our students and our faculty and our parents and really think about all of your accomplishments. And I want to note in particular how much I appreciate how nurturing the Asian American Studies Department is for our students. Every year when I look over the awards, I'm always struck by what a wide range of awards are available to students. And of course, there's ones for accomplishments, right? The scholastic accomplishments and special achievement, social justice and leadership and community building. And these are all really vitally important recognition of the work that you have accomplished. They're also a hint of what is to come, the achievements you're going to go on to make after you graduate. But I also love that there's also awards for promising freshmen, sophomore, and transfer students. So those of you who have earned these recognitions, I want to say that you are the future of this department. You are part of something that's big and important, the creation of a community of scholars, writers, workers, and leaders. And you'll be spending the next 1 or 2 or 3 years, however long you're here, shaping yourselves and shaping us as well. This is really important, I think, to remind ourselves about right now. You know, we're in the midst, obviously, of the twin crises of the global pandemic and the terrible racial injustices that have become so prominent, so much in our, you know, our awareness. And you have all persevered. You have overcome terrible obstacles. You've had so many milestones framed within the 4 walls of the Zoom room. And these experiences are unique. And of course, in many ways, they've been so disappointing and tough. But they are a part now of what shapes you and what shapes the future that you are creating right now, every day. And so just remember, your work, the work that you are going to go out into the world to do, is important. It's hard, but it's worth it. And I am so proud of you for all that you've accomplished. Many, many thanks are due to our wonderful faculty who make all the connections and commitments possible. I really appreciate your hard work. And many thanks as well to the administrators and staff members whose work behind the scenes makes so many things possible. I want to thank as well Dr. de Guzman for joining us. He is a distinguished scholar and writer, public historian, and a wonderful role model for everyone here. So thank you so much for the work that you do. A thank you as well, and this one's important, to our wonderful donors whose generous support makes these awards possible. Your support of and care for our students is so meaningful and so deeply appreciated. And finally, a huge debt of gratitude and a big congratulations to the parents and families who are here, and to those who are not able to be here with you this morning, but are with you in spirit. Without you, none of this would be possible. And with you, everything is possible. So congratulations and thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Dean Stalcup. And now I'd like to introduce Professor Edith Chen.
Hello, everyone. I'd like to share a few words about our keynote speaker, Dr. Jean-Paul de Guzman, or how many of us know and love him as JP. It seems like it was only yesterday when JP was a student in my Asian American Studies Field Practicum, or AAS 390 class. The students were engaged in a high-stakes treasure hunt to collect the oral histories and photographs of Japanese Americans in the San Fernando Valley, whose presence date back to the 1910s. Many of the Nisei were in their 70s, 80s, and beyond, and were children when they were forcibly removed from their homes and placed into internment camps during World War II. Some of the land CSUN sits upon now was formerly Japanese American farmland that was taken away by eminent domain after World War II. Armed with analog video recorders, it was 2004, pen and pad, JP was the unofficial student leader who, along with his classmates, went to capture the stories that have been left out of our California and US history books. Due to their work, these stories are now available for perpetuity on the Discover Nikkei website of the Japanese American National Museum. JP is the master oral historian, scholar, community activist, and inspires everyone around him to be better and to do better, including faculty. Even back then, JP was able to place the stories of Japanese Americans to the larger history of Mexicans, Filipinos, Chinese, African Americans, and whites in the San Fernando Valley. Dr. de Guzman's work exemplifies academic rigor and social justice praxis that informs his teaching, scholarship, and community work. I am so looking forward to the publication of his book, tentatively titled A Touch of Danger, Southern California's San Fernando Valley and the Racial Politics of an American Dream, which explores how communities of color claimed and contested that iconic American space. JP went on to complete a master's in Asian American Studies and PhD in history at UCLA, as well as a postdoc fellowship at UC Santa Barbara, where he also taught in the Department of Asian American Studies. A comparative relational race historian, JP authored the first academic journal article on boba cafes and has published widely on San Fernando Valley history, including pieces on Cold War civil rights activism, the racial politics of public memory, and the LA Valley secession movement. Most recently, his publications include works on the recent historiography of LA, Shin Buddhist modernity in Los Angeles, and the Asian American student strikes of the 1960s. JP is a faculty member at Windward School and a lecturer in the Asian American Studies Department and Interracial Dynamics Cluster at UCLA, where he earned the University Distinguished Teaching Award and was named UCAFT Local 1990s Unionist of the Year in 2017. Committed to public history, JP has advised the LA Office of Historic Resources, co-founded the Tuna Canyon Detention Station Coalition, and appeared in media as diverse as KPCC's Take Two, KCRW's The 805, and Kababayan Today. An active member of the Buddhist Churches of America, he sits on the Social Justice Committee of the Young Buddhist Editorial and the Archives and Historic Preservation Committee of the Young, and serves as a minister's assistant at the San Fernando Valley Hongwanji Buddhist Temple. Please join me in a warm Matador welcome to one of our own, Dr. Jean-Paul de Guzman.
Thank you so much, Professor Chen, for that very gracious, kind, and wonderful introduction and set of narratives you shared about our time together. As Professor Chen alluded to, so much of what guides me today as a teacher, as a scholar, I learned from what the faculty in CSUN's Asian American Studies department modeled for me every single day. And so, good morning, graduating class of 2021, families, friends, staff, faculty, and administration. I miss CSUN's campus dearly, but I'm still grateful to be zooming in from the Tataviam land of North Hollywood. Having crossed the steps of Oviatt Library to receive my degree in Asian American Studies in May 2005, it is a humbling honor to receive the invitation to speak to all of you this morning for the joy and celebration and reflection that will follow. Graduates, I want you to think back to the reasons why you decided to take your first Asian American Studies class. I still remember sitting in a cramped academic counselor's office in Sierra Hall, poring over the schedule of classes and deciding to take Asian American for a moment. Anyway, my individual Asian American Studies origin story may appear innocent enough, yet little did I know just how radical the knowledge and tools I received in that very first Asian American Studies class would be. Because precisely 15 days after I started CSUN, 9/11 occurred, and I immediately knew that life would never be the same. as military planes flew over the valley, replacing the air traffic to Burbank Airport, and a haunting chill descended upon LA. The Sikh Gurdwara near my house shrouded itself in American flags. Sitting in my Jerome Richfield Hall classroom, I learned about how that ostensible display of patriotism was no mistake, but rooted in generations-old legacies of anti-Asian hatred that paralleled the violence unleashed upon Japanese Americans and resulted in their forced removal and mass incarceration during World War II. As the United States escalated its invasion of Iraq and hastened a quagmire that is still ongoing, my classes helped me understand that what mainstream historians gleefully call the American century, that is to say the 20th century, is really one of brute American empire, seen through the lens of the illegal overthrow of the Hawaiian monarchy and the opening salvo of the Philippine-American War in the 1890s, right through subsequent wars and occupations in Japan, Korea, Vietnam, Cambodia, Laos, and others. That invasion that I witnessed walking to my classes was the extension of a much deeper and more rapacious history. Meanwhile, California itself was in the midst of grappling with racial inequality in the shadow of a decade that robbed the rights and dignity of immigrants and other Black, Indigenous, and other people of color. On the heels of grassroots efforts to dismantle bilingual education, affirmative action, and access to the most basic resources of civil society for undocumented people, right-wing forces bankrolled a ballot initiative, Proposition 54, that would outright ban the collection of racial data, effectively freezing inequality in its place. Supporters produced a very seductive argument that not talking about racism could hasten its demise. But my classes demonstrated otherwise, and how race and power are intimately interlaced. But despite these very harrowing experiences of marginalization, what was also evident from every single class, every single lesson, and every single extracurricular activity I took in Asian American studies was that the margins are spaces of experimentation, adaptation, resilience, and resistance. I learned that for generations, Asian, Pacific Islander, and Desi Americans have been the unruly figures that have abrogated and unsettled the forces that may seem stronger than we are. I credit Professor Gina Masakesme's anti-war activism with CSUN's Students for Peace and Justice, whose website I looked up this morning, and I don't think it was been updated since I was an undergrad. But I am so grateful for that activism and Professor Masakesme's example for enlightening me with the power of alternative voices to the corporatized news media, and indeed for giving me the information on a campus action that would become the very first protest I attended. Professor Laura Uba's truly iconic Asian American history and psychology courses gave me the tools to deconstruct the tidy meta-narratives that encouraged our complicity in that war and the belief that silencing race could actually benefit society. Professor Stephen Ropp's senior capstone on popular education helped galvanize an entire generation of us to see ourselves as activists and organizers as we revitalize the moribund Asian American Studies Student Association and refurbish what eventually became the Glen Omatsu House. And to help us bring together an intergenerational panel of Muslim American activists and the survivors of America's concentration camps for Japanese Americans to understand the logic of surveillance and removal. Lastly, Professor Edith Chen's service learning course on the Japanese American experience in the San Fernando Valley showed me firsthand the generative connections between what we do at CSUN and the university and what is done in the community. That class showed me truly how a community builds and rebuilds its institutions, its lives and dignities across generations, and would inspire my own intellectual trajectory to better understand how Black, Indigenous, and people of color have contested and remade one of LA's most segregated and exclusionary spaces, the San Fernando Valley. And so I invoke this nostalgia to pose a question to all of you. What does it mean to live in history? Not to study it, not to dissect it, not to analyze it, or as we know from Professor Uba's classes, not even to deconstruct it. But what does it mean to live in a moment where the reconfigurations of society shape the tenor and texture of your everyday life? I've given you a sense of what that was like for me for some 15 years ago. But what do you do with all you've learned and done and organized about in this unique moment, in this unique time? As we know, COVID-19 that began to sweep the globe at the beginning of 2020 brought into sharp relief the chasms of racial and economic inequality that have plagued our society for generations. The egregious murders of Breonna Taylor, Ahmaud Arbery, and George Floyd ignited the newest chapter in the Black freedom struggle. Across the nation, despite the deadly threat of COVID transmission, Black folks and their allies of all backgrounds have taken to our streets, our suburbs, our towns and villages. And peppered throughout every one of those protests has been Asian Pacific Islander and Desi American communities invoking that classic phrase of solidarity from the Asian American movement: yellow peril supports Black power. And yet, this greater visibility for Asian Americans was accompanied by a wave of anti-Asian violence whose crest was the Atlanta murders, whose victims were largely Asian immigrant women, whose killings touched off a debate about the racialized misogyny that Asian women uniquely face. A groundswell of consciousness raising among each and every one of us, and indeed the worlds around us, has taken place. But what will you do with all that you have received in your years at CSUN to address this? How will you live in history? Inverting W.E.B. Du Bois's query to African Americans and the souls of Black folk, when he asked, "How does it feel to be a problem?" Historian and critic Vijay Prashad perceptibly asks Asian Americans, "How does it feel to be a solution?" In other words, that model minority. How does it feel to be such a solution that the lives of Asian Americans are seen to be negligible? Is our solution simply to raise up those who've made it as examples for the rest of us? Should we only aspire to material wealth and comfort? In the face of the violence that has robbed so many families of their precious elders, do we just reproduce the systems that have oppressed ourselves and other people of color in the name of law, order, and safety? The history of Asian Americans begs us to reconsider another path. When we look to the historical actors of the past, a story of a diverse and fragmented community come together, but one that was never complacent with the status quo. We see those unruly immigrants and their children. We see workers and students and everyday individuals, the people who are sitting next to you in your living room right now, exercising their agency to craft a more equitable world. This political moment implores all of us to think creatively and act boldly, where revolutionary solidarity is the answer and perhaps the only answer. I would like to close by meditating upon the words of that great Nisei freedom fighter, Yuri Kochiyama, who I learned about in, I believe, my second Asian American Studies class so many years ago. She told a group of young people, remember that consciousness is power, consciousness is education, consciousness is becoming aware. It is the perfect vehicle for students. Consciousness raising is pertinent for power, and be sure that power will not be used abusively, but will be used for building trust and goodwill. Truly, Tomorrow's world is yours to build. To close, thank you so much, Matadors. Thank you to my teachers, my guides, my mentors. Thank you to all of you for being here today. And thanks to all of our ancestors who crossed vast oceans, traversed cruel, harsh lands, and have brought you to this joyful moment today. Thank you so much.
Thank you for your inspiring and empowering words, Dr. De Guzman. And thank you for sharing with us the power of the liminal spaces that we occupy. And now, let me introduce the wizard behind the curtain, an Asian American Studies and CTVA double major, our technical director and producer, Jason Kwan.
Everyone. I just want to say congrats on your graduation, and it was a pleasure to work on this production. And so up next, we have 2 statements from some of our graduates, and I put it together in a little video for you guys. So I hope you guys enjoy.
Okay, so now I would like to introduce our graduation marshal, Professor Alan Aquino.
Well, good morning to all of our family, friends, and distinguished guests. I am proud to announce and present to you all the members of the graduating class of 2021 in Asian American Studies. Lian Bundalian, Jacqueline Chang, Shiho Iwama, Geronimo Moril, Laura Hirono, Julia Salcedo, and Albert Santos. Congratulations to the class of 2021.
Thank you, Professor Aquino. Congratulations to our 2021 AAS grads. Now that you've graduated and about to figure out your next step, remember what Janet Napolitano said. You don't go to the university so you can punch a clock. You go to university so you can be in the position to make a difference. We can't wait to hear about all the difference that you will all make. We are so proud of all of you. Speaking of pride, the next portion of our program is the celebration and recognition of this year's recipients of the Asian American Studies Student Awards. The next awards in the promising category have often been selected with and supported by the Educational Opportunity Program at CSUN. The Educational Opportunity Program serves underrepresented and high potential students who come from underserved communities such as educationally disadvantaged, socioeconomically low income, and or first generation college students with programming that improves access and retention services to our CSUN students. The AAS department continues to appreciate our 31-year collaborative relationship with EOP, which have positively impacted AAPI and APIDA students. The first award is the Promising Freshman Award. This award is provided to freshmen who have demonstrated promise in context of academics and or community involvement. The recipients of this honor are students who have been recognized by their professors as having demonstrated solid critical thinking skills, academic and or personal improvement, and or a burgeoning commitment to racial justice. Here are this year's promising freshmen. Jason Alvarenga. Isaiah Baker. Kaylee Block. Sophia Marie Kabakungan. Julissa Canella. Andrew Concepcion. Lorenzo Basilio Fonseca. Mitul Kalra. Abhik Jain. Eugene Joe. Jonathan Ryan Hui. Aisha Kumar. C.E. Sayanoa. Karen Lam. Juho Lee. Fernando Lopez. Nguyen Nam Khoi Nguyen. Caden Pak. Aaron Pritchard. Congratulations, students. And now to announce the next award, here is Dr. Edith Chen.
The Promising Sophomore Awards goes to students who demonstrate deep engagement with their Asian American Studies coursework, critical insights, and leadership in their Asian American Studies classes as recognized by their faculty. The awardees are Jalalit Afolabi, Michelle Gillen, Cynthia Gutierrez, Sarah Han, Daniel Jung, Riley Kaneshiro, Joshua Keck, Natalie Moran Rojas, Elizabeth Moreno, Avik Pandey, Audrey Pottas, Ariana Yousafzadeh. And now, Dr. Teresa Williams-Leon to announce the Promising Transfer Awards.
Thank you. The Promising Transfer Award identifies students who have transferred from other institutions of higher education to CSUN. It's not always easy to transfer and try to find your place in a new university, especially one as large and comprehensive as CSUN. These transfer students have been recognized by their professors as showing great promise for excellence in Asian American studies and beyond. The awardees are Christopher Aguas, Justin Garcia, Amandeep Kaur, John Lee, and Malia Prock. Congratulations. And now I would like to introduce Professor Clement Lai.
I have the privilege of announcing the awardees for the Community Builder Award. The Community Builder Award recognizes students who play a crucial role in building the Asian American, Pacific Islander, and/or Desai American community on and off and/or off campus. The following three 2021 Community Builder awardees are, well, they've demonstrated their community building on and off campus. They developed alliances, and they also have demonstrated their leadership. And the awardees are Christy Dew, Paula Longozo, and Mariko Pierce. Now I would like to introduce Professor Tracy Buenavista.
Morning, everybody. I have the honor of introducing the Donna Kawamoto Special Achievement Award. This is an award that's made possible by the incomparable Glenn Omatsu and is given to a student who has demonstrated resiliency and a strong ability to overcome difficult hardships and life circumstances to pursue higher education. This year's award goes to Micah Forteza. Michael Forteza is a first-generation Filipino-American student, double majoring in anthropology and Asian American studies. They are a resident advisor in student housing, co-founder and social media manager of the API Advocates Campus Affinity Group, and a mentee in the inaugural cohort of the Ethnic Studies Education Pathways Project, in which they focused on the establishment and development of ethnic studies education for K-12 students. They seek to further develop their abilities to carry out the mission of Asian American Studies and Ethnic Studies. And with one more year with us, we're excited to see what you do. Congratulations, Micah. Please help me welcome my esteemed colleague, Dr. Phil Hutchison, who will announce the next award.
Thank you, Dr. Buenavista. I will be presenting the Laura Uba Academic Achievement Award. The student who receives this award is a double major in Asian American Studies and has demonstrated a strong academic performance and critical understanding of Asian American Studies and/or ethnic studies. This year's recipient of the Laura Uba Academic Achievement Award is Kaylin Trong. Kaylin is an Asian American Studies major with plans to minor in CTVA management and psychology. Her hope is to be a representative for the community and use her talents to portray the Asian American community more accurately in the media, as there is major underrepresentation and misunderstanding of Asian Americans. Kaylin plans to graduate in 2023 and hopes to spread awareness on societal issues and continue serving others. Congratulations, Kaylin. And now to present the Unai Shrake Promising Educator Award is Professor Unai Shrake.
Dr. Shrake, we can't hear you.
Sorry. It is my pleasure to present Yune Shrake Promising Educator Award. This award attempts to address the lack of Asian American representation in the teaching force and recognize students who has demonstrated a commitment to and potential for a career in education field, either in the K-12 level or higher education. This year's Promising Educator Award goes to Malia Alcantar. Malia Alcantar is currently in third year season and happily majoring in Asian American Studies. Their current goal after completing their undergraduate degree is to pursue master's degree in library science. As a present resident mentor for student housing and an intern for the Asian American Studies Pathways Project, they have really enjoyed becoming more involved in their community and mentoring students. Malia strives to make personal connections with and create safe environment for Asian American and Pacific Islander students through critical representation. Congratulations, Malia. Next presenter is Dr. Enrique de la Cruz, former chair of the Asian American Studies Department and donor of the Enrique de la Cruz Social Justice Award. Enrique.
Hello. Hello, thank you, Yune. Am I online here?
Yeah.
Yes, you're good. We can hear you
I
well.
can hear you.
Hello, thank you, Yune, for the kind introduction. Thank you also to my colleagues in the department who work hard to identify a student whose work demonstrates abiding commitment to the cause of social justice. The Award for Social Justice seeks to recognize students who have demonstrated a commitment towards ending oppression and empowering communities of color, particularly Asian and Pacific Islander communities, through their involvement in projects and organizations seeking justice and empowerment of minority communities. Awardees are in the process of completing community internship hours under supervision of a faculty through the 495 and 497 courses. I am pleased to present the Social Justice Award this year to Holly, who is pursuing a double major in Asian American Studies and Psychology. Holly is an intern with the Asian American Pathways Project, which aims to provide resources while building community among Asian American students at CSUN. Off campus, Holly serves as the vice chairperson of Anakbayan, Los Angeles, a Filipino youth organization fighting for national democracy in the Philippines. A cause, by the way, that is dear to my heart, since the struggle for national democracy in the Philippines is where I first cut my activist teeth as an undergraduate student in the Philippines. Holly has earned the award through her efforts on campus with the Asian American Pathways Project. One of Holly's noteworthy accomplishments is to mobilize CSUN associated students to be the first CSU campus to endorse Philippine Human Rights Act. This law encodes into Philippine law human rights protections for Filipinos in the Philippines. Congratulations, Holly.
And now I would like to introduce Dr. Gina Masakesame, who will present the Kenyon Chan Outstanding Leadership Award.
Greetings from the land of the toddling. Xin chào các bậc ông bà cha mẹ, chú mợ, cô bác dì và các em Việt Nam. That was in Vietnamese, in case you didn't know. The Kenyon Chan Outstanding Leadership Award is given to an Asian American Studies major, double major, or minor who has demonstrated the goals and values of the department as well as campus leadership. The student is engaged in practices that bridge the university and the Asian Pacific Islander and Desi communities, and has advanced ethnic studies through research and activism. It is with great pleasure to present the Kenyon Chan's Outstanding Leadership Award to our incredibly active, passionate, and productive student, Jessica Steiner. Jessica is an anthropology and Asian American Studies double major who is an intern for the Asian American Studies Pathways Project and a fellow for the CSUN Autonomy Research Center for STEM. Jessica also serves on many important campus committees to bridge our communities, such as the Diversity and Inclusion Committee, the Commission of Diversity and Inclusion Initiatives, this University Student Union LGBTQ Advisory Board, the USU Expansion and Renovation Committee, and the university's first Police Advisory Committee. Jessica also helped secure a Diversity and Equity Innovation Grant to develop the Asian American Studies Peer Involvement and Retention Program in Education, also known as ASPIRE, a culturally relevant peer mentoring project through the Asian American Studies Pathways Project and Asian American Studies courses. I first got to know Jessica from my Asian American Studies critical thinking course, and she stood out. So I recruited her for the Asian American Studies Sexualities class. And now I go to all sorts of committees at the university and Jessica is there. So it is so wonderful to have such great student leadership and to see that through Jessica Steiner. Congratulations, Jessica. Some moments of pause so people can applaud. The next speaker is our Asian American Studies donor and columnist for the Asian Journal, Rossi de la Cruz.
Hi, everyone. It's my pleasure to introduce the recipient of this next award. It's named after my mom, Asuncion Abarquez, a science and math teacher at several science middle school, 2 or 3 in the Philippines, and 2 or 3 here in California in downtown Los Angeles and also Cerritos. And it's also named after my sister who passed away within 60 days of my mom. And she's a faith educator as well, who has counseled a lot of married couples. Mika Fortesa would like to be known as they. They means he has actually accomplished a lot in his short time, because even in Santa Monica High School, he was already doing volunteer work. So when he says he's a people person, he does outreach already. And he has that foundation. And then he served also as assistant building manager for 8 years at Barrington Manor Apartments. So when he says he's doing outreach, he's also doing people skills building. He's also an animator, an audiovisual specialist for the Society for the Promotion of Japanese Animation. So whatever he's doing at CSUN, which somebody had already mentioned because he's also a recipient of another award, I would like to just highlight that both chambers of his brains are working, both the science and the academic part of his brain, but also the artistic part of his brain, and add to that his people skills. So we did pick out his essay, and I would like to thank first the chair of this committee, Professor Tomo Hattori, who has developed a very seamless kind of recruitment and assessment and evaluation of essays. Without his diligent and conscientious leadership, I don't think we would have gotten to this point of selection. I also want to thank Professor Philip Hutchinson, who's always very thoughtful about his assessments and very, very much hands-on in developing a better product after his editing with the student. Anyway, we selected this essay because it stood out for us as very original and very strong in articulating the anti-Asian sentiments related to food. Imagine every time you eat Chinese food, you will never forget Miguel. For Tessa, for outlining that there was a false lie, what I call a image, a false mythology, in fact, that monosodium glutamate has caused this Chinese restaurant syndrome of headaches, what else? Shortness of breath, and all sorts of conditions, adverse health conditions. And Miguel cited the fact that there was this guy, a graduate, an alumni, in fact, of Colgate University, where this woman, Professor Jennifer Lemessurier, uncovered this false lie by her research, that it was based on a guy, the name of which is Robert Steele, Dr. Robert Steele, on a $10 bet with his friends while drunk in a bar, suggested that he can have an article published in the New England Journal of Medicine under the name of a pseudonym, Dr. Kwok Homan, also known as a human croc, and that he can perpetuate this lie about monosodium glutamate. I thought, and the committee members thought, that this was a very strong original essay linking what's happening today with anti-Asian sentiments that Vice President Kamala Harris mentioned. We had experienced 1,000 incidents last year, and that has grown now to 6,000 this year. So it led to the signing of the COVID-19 hate crimes bill into law by President Joe Biden. So congratulations, Miguel. For Tessa, that was a beautifully written essay, and I'm very happy that you were selected by the committee.
Congratulations to all of our student awardees. I am so greatly honored that I work with so closely with so many of you. So, thank you for everything that you guys do. Now, let's once again give the floor to our talented technical director, Jason Kwan.
Hey everyone. Here coming up next, we have a video from you and what you have to say, and I hope you guys enjoy.
Hello, My name is Miguel Forteza, and I am so honored and grateful to be chosen for the Abarquez and Alcantara essay contest, as well as the Donna Kawamoto Special Achievement Award this year. Asian American Studies, along with the Ethnic Studies Department as a whole, gave me the voice, vocabulary, and opportunity I needed to uplift and empower not only myself, but my community as well. And for that, I can't be any more grateful for all the hard work, wisdom, and uplifting this department bestows on our campus community every year. I'd like to give a quick shout out to my first ever Asian American Studies professor, Professor Do-Young Lee, for pushing me out of my comfort zone and introducing me to this radical idea where our identities are put center stage for the first time in many of our lives. Another quick shout out to the AAS PP crew for not being just an incredible resource for the campus community, but for being some of my best friends too. Thank you.
Hello everyone, my name is Holly. I'm so excited to be this year's recipient of the Enrique de la Cruz Social Justice Award. First of all, I would love to give a huge shout out to the Asian American Studies Pathways Project for providing me so much joy and laughter these past 4 years. Even through immense struggles we have faced together, we have never lost sight of our ultimate purpose, which is to ultimately serve the AAPI student population at CSUN. Next, I would love to give a huge shout out to Professor Glenn Omatsu, to Professor Tori, to Professor Gamboa Wong, and to Dr. Tracy, who has literally been there with me every single step of the way. Finally, I would love to give huge thank you to Dr. Enrique de la Cruz for this scholarship. As a community organizer with ANUCBA in Los Angeles, these funds will first greatly support my capacity to organize against the Duterte dictatorship and to organize for national democracy with a socialist perspective in the Philippines, and to second, provide material support for activists and human rights defenders who are continuously being targeted and murdered by the Philippine government for doing the same work that I am doing. Let us continue the fight to pave our way towards our collective liberation. Maraming salamat po. Maki baka, huwag matakot, dare to struggle, do not be afraid.
Hey everyone, this is Jessie. I just want to say thank you for this award and thank you for this department. I'm just really grateful to be in such a unique and tight-knit and wonderful and caring department during my college career, not only because of Asian American Studies professors, but also because of my peers who have become some of my best friends at CSUN, and all the really unique opportunities I've had through all of this. Luckily, I still have one more semester left at CSUN, so you can't get rid of me just yet. But I just wanted to say thanks again for this award, and also for all the work that everyone does to make ethnic studies and Asian American studies and just folks' experience at CSUN so full of critical education and care, both on the local and the international levels. So thank you.
Hi everyone, my name is Karen Chung, and today I'm gratefully receiving the Laura Uba Achievement Award. Coming into college, I was hesitant about what I wanted to do with my life. However, I'm a firm believer that everything happens for a reason, and after taking my first Asian American Studies course at CSUN, I was exposed to so many buried ideas and curiosities I had about Asian Americans that were never answered in my middle school or high school history classes. It was such an eye-opener, and now I can finally put the thoughts I've had about our discrimination hidden behind model minority myths into words. I want to take Asian American Studies as a tool to stand up for our community, especially during unprecedented times of the pandemic and rise of anti-Asian hate crimes. Through Asian American Studies, I have learned that knowledge is power, and I have been able to confidently educate so many people around me. I would like to give a shout out to my professors, Philip Hutchison, Clement Lai, Do-Young Lee, and Alan Aquino for helping me find my passion. Also, a quick shout out to my mother and peer, Eric Voss, for supporting me in becoming the best possible version of myself. Thank you.
Wow. Congratulations to all of our graduates and all of our awardees, some of them multiple award winners. Congratulations. We're just so proud of you. First, before I introduce our outgoing chair, I wanted to recognize Dr. Simi Makajani. She will be an incoming faculty next academic year. So Dr. Makajani, if you can just wave hello. Yay, yay, there she is. So we're looking forward to having you next year. So
I'm counting down the days.
yay. So, okay. All right. Well, we're moving along. I would like to take this opportunity to thank Dr. Ine Shrake for serving as the chair of the Asian American Studies Department during such an uproarious time. Dr. Shrake, you have generously gifted the department a Promising Educators Award scholarship, right? As this year's awardee, Malia can attest to. Right? Your leadership and the collaborative team effort from dedicated students and faculty made these past 3 years of your leadership possible. And we thank you dearly, Dr. Shrake. Please enjoy your much-deserved retirement, but we hope to see you around. I present to you Dr. Ine Shrake.
Thank you, Teresa. You are trying to make me cry, right? Okay, when I look back, the past 3 years of my chair term was indeed difficult and challenging. In my first semester as chair in fall 2018, hate graffiti with threats of mass shooting was found in Sierra Hall that disturbed our final exam process. It was my first experience of difficulty. In 2019, COVID-19 pandemic caused campus closures and forced us into virtual mode of living, including instruction and graduation and any other events. So I've never been to real actual graduation last year, this year. So first year of my term, I was on sabbatical. So I never been to real actual physical graduation as chair. In 2020, the murder of George Floyd spurred protests around the country over the continued assaults against racial minority people. It really affected ethnic studies department. Especially COVID-19 pandemic unleashed anti-Asian hate violence. So our Asian American communities and students alike not only had to contend with the virus, but also fear for our safety even now. All in all, my 3 years as chair was nowhere near quiet or normal. I admit that it hasn't been easy to be a chair during this difficult time. However, good thing is, despite all these hardships, I learned and relearned how precious our relations with students and colleagues are, and how adjusting and flexible we can be together. However difficult and disappointing it has been, with you, faculty, student, and staff, we not only survived, but we thrived together. And now, together, we all are seeing some light at the end of the tunnel. Keep your fingers crossed. With the help of our encouraging faculty, there are a lot in our department, I was able to take these challenging moments as an opportunity for change and development of the Asian American Studies department. I was led to go beyond my limits, to reach out and achieve something productive more than I have envisioned myself before. Throughout past years, our department re-established cooperative relations with upper administration, with different programs and units as season, including the Oviatt Library, University Student Union, China Institute, to name a few. In cooperation with those programs, we got involved with Asian American and Pacific Islander cultural talk, cultural welcome, anti-Asian hate violence talks, the revamping ethnic studies curriculum, securing various resources, and now with the support of units across campus, we are in the early stages of proposing an APIDA Center, that is Asian Pacific Islander Desi American Center. Hopefully we can get it in the future. I have successfully completed my term only because of the help and support provided by you, our faculty and students. We survived all these horrific historical moments together. I emphasize together. I'm eternally grateful for your help and support. Sorry. With heartfelt gratitude and overwhelming hope, I'm so happy to leave my post in good hands of our next chair, Dr. Cristina Ayala Alcantara. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for that introduction. And Ane, I have to say, I'm quite moved by the fact that you started on a challenge with this new job. I think the new job itself is challenging, let alone under those circumstances. I'm hoping my experience will be slightly different. It's really been quite a pleasure to sit in on this graduation and be introduced to the student body, to the faculty, to the family members of the students. I'm reminded of how important ethnic studies is and the role it plays, not only in our community, but in the lives of our students and our families. For those of you that don't know me, I'm actually a faculty member from the Chicano Studies Department, another ethnic studies department. I was approached by the department for this opportunity to chair. I'm quite honored to have this position. I'm looking forward to learning quite a bit. I'm going to be in a learner position, I believe, for quite some time, and I hope to do that, to learn and to be successful with the assistance of my peers, my colleagues, and the students. I look forward to serving. I will do my very best, and I look forward to meeting you all, hopefully in person sooner than later. Congratulations to all the graduates and the awardees, the best team.
Dr. Chen?
And now I'd like to introduce Dr. Tomo Hattori. He will be sharing some thank yous to the people who made this program possible.
Hello, everyone. Thank you, Dr. Chen. I just want to make sure the sound is good, that everyone can hear me. If someone can nod, awesome, fantastic. It's my honor to precede my esteemed colleague, Professor Alan Aquino, who will do our closing in his own inimitable way. But it is also my privilege to thank some of the many who make what we do here possible. The parents and families of grads and awardees, some of whom are here, thank you. Friends and supporters of Asian American Studies, whoever you are, wherever you may be, we remember you even if we don't remember you. Professor Tracy Buenavista of the Awards Committee, my colleagues on the Abarquez Essay Committee, Professors Hutchinson and Kimberly Carroll, Professor Gamboa Wong, who we see here on the screen, doing what she does with aplomb and flair. Professor Alan Aquino, who you'll hear from shortly. Technical director and filmmaker extraordinaire Jason Kwan, you are a dream to have, and we will miss you when you're gone. Our administrative service coordinator, Janaki Bowerman, and our pathway students, many of whom are here today. Shiva Parsa of EOP, our Dean Jackie Stalcup, good to see you here, the Dean's Office overall, as well as the College of Humanities beyond that. Dr. William Watkins, and special shout out, special note of appreciation to our generous donors, Professor Glenn Omatsu, Ms. Prosi de la Cruz, Professor Enrique de la Cruz, Professor Yune Shrake, and Professor Kenyon Chan. Great to see many of you here. And then finally, our wonderfully inspiring keynote speaker and a good friend of mine, Dr. Jean-Paul de Guzman. Little clap for everyone. Yay. Yes, awesome. And then, as I said, my pleasure to introduce Professor Alan Aquino for the closing of our wonderful award ceremony.
Well, thank you very much. It's a tremendous honor to join this year's ceremony, and it's a tremendous honor to be invited to be one of the latter speakers. I regret that I haven't been able to participate as much with my colleagues in our department events during the past academic year. As a number of you know, I was a casualty of the pandemic, so to speak, and it's been 6 months since I survived a pretty severe coronavirus fever, and I'm still making slow recovery. And I think a lot of us would agree that during the past year and a half or so, we have really seen some of the worst that the world has to offer. But despite the worst things that the world has thrown at us, despite the traumas and the difficulties that we've all faced, I have been tremendously inspired to see how we are always greater than the worst things that can ever happen to us. My first Asian American Studies event was nearly 30 years ago, fall 1992, when I was an 18-year-old freshman. The department brought Philip Veracruz to speak to campus. And if you're a student of Asian American Studies, I'm sure you know the name. Needless to say, it was that event that set me on my own path. And through Asian American Studies, I've learned the meaning of family, the real meaning of family. Family is defined by not so much blood relations, but by the people who care about you and share your life with most. And especially during the past year, during my illness, I want to acknowledge my colleagues for sustaining me and supporting me. I've never had a chance to say how proud I am of all of you. Congratulations to the class of 2021, but I want to give a special acknowledgement to all of my colleagues and fellow professors who have sustained me and kept things going. Whenever I had a moment that I felt cynical about the world, all I had to do was turn my eyes towards the work that you've all done. And I couldn't be more proud of you all. I really am proud of my colleagues, who are some of the best people that I will ever know. Anyway, what I'm going to share tonight to close things out, it's the most recent poem I wrote. I'm gonna, excuse me, I'll post the title here. And this poem is entitled As We Meet Again, A Hope for Post-Pandemic Afternoons. As I've said at other Asian American Studies events, which I've co-hosted in the past, we don't say goodbye, especially when it comes to events like this. Today is commencement, which means today is the beginning of the rest of our lives, the beginning of the legacy of our recent graduates, and a continuation of the legacy of my distinguished colleagues. So with events like today, I, for one, never say goodbye. I say till we meet again. And this poem is entitled As We Meet Again. Actually, sorry, let me let me repost the title here. Okay, there's the title. So this poem is entitled As We Meet Again, a poem in 3 parts. I dedicate it to all of you, my friends and family who inspire me and who sustain me every day. Hope and inspiration cost nothing, but sometimes they're the only things we have. And I am thankful that all of you have always been an endless wellspring of hope and inspiration. As we meet again, 1, we will share an afternoon plain and true. You will regale like a lovely soundtrack, your mouth conducting witticisms. We will let loose what never felt right and wander sleek with comfort. Before the sunset, we will see how we have braved so much, so long. We will defy every love song with time, treasures, and our talents. 2, I see, I pay attention, I remember, and I revisit. You are not fond of tall tales, cliches, or bad jokes. You barely stand people who just don't get it. You're self-conscious when strangers talk to you or offer you true compliments. But you give your whole self to your family, to friends, to children, to creatures. You're shy about creativity despite your amazingly artful discipline. I don't exoticize and I don't idealize. I don't have to do anything but see you. 3, I don't get the secrets of blissful people. I don't know the mysteries of love or death. I can't promise anyone things like everything or forever. And so I pick amusing memes and videos for your scroll, like a faunish kid picks flowers. I don't know why charming you, my friend, means so much. But I know always how you quicken me, how you quicken my heart. The afternoon light fills with the fullness of dream time. I can be boring and cheerless, and yet we save for one another our kindness, embracing one another somehow. No matter what might happen tomorrow or whenever, in this still bright hour, in this still bright moment, to be with you, my friends, my family, is to be grateful to be alive. Congratulations to the class of 2021, and congratulations again to our distinguished Asian American Studies Department for continuing our legacy and our history at the Cal State Northridge community. One love, everybody. Thank you for joining our celebration today.
And that concludes our 2021 Asian American Studies Graduation and Student Award Ceremony. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you so much.
Please stick around if you guys want to chat with each other. Some of the awardees, if you wanted to stick around and speak to Dr. Enrique de la Cruz and Prosi de la Cruz, Dr. Anae Shrake.
And JP.
Oh, yes.
And JP, one of the earliest winners of the Dr. Kenyon Chan Leadership Award.
So we actually have 3 OGs who won that: Dr. de Guzman, Professor Alan Aquino, and Professor Phil Hutchison, all winners of the Kenyon Chan Outstanding Leadership Award. Thank you all for coming. Oh my gosh, I see all the, I'm gonna cry.
Thank you, Christina, for coming. I'm a little bit sick today, so,
Thank you.
Terrible fever now, so hope it's not corona. But anyways, I got vaccinated, but still feel strange fever.
Thank you to the planning committee.
Yeah, planning committee.
Absolutely, yeah. Thank you to the planning committee. That's
yeah,
would
and
not be
also
what this
essay
is.
selection committee and student award selection committee. All these people work so hard to make it possible. Alan, thank you for that poem. I love it.
Yes.
Can you send it to me in case? Is it
Alan,
possible?
what can I say? You always know how to say, the right thing, strike the right tone. So blessed to have
Mhm.
you as a colleague in our department.
Yes. Mhm.
Thank you, JP,
Rare.
for your wonderful words.
I think it's our real blessing to have you.
I'm waiting for the book.
Yes, we need, I'd like to use it in my class.
Yes.
I can't wait. I can't wait.
We can
Slowly
use
but
it-
surely.
Yeah, we can use that poem at the end of the class semester, every semester probably.
I
Thank you
know
so
that-
much, JP.
Have a good day. Take care. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you, Christina, for coming.
Yes.
Looking forward to your chairship the next 3 years.
Yeah, it will be a lot greater. So
I
we'll
know
have a
that,
greater department.
I was thinking that I know that teaching may not be for everyone, but many of you who are going to be graduating soon, I hope you will consider, coming back and becoming our colleagues and teaching here in the Asian American Studies Department. We would be honored to have you back as colleagues. So, whether you majored or didn't major in Asian American Studies, there's always graduate programs. So, please, and even if you're not going to be teaching, this is your home. Please, come home anytime. We're here for you.
I just say, Holly, are you here?
Yes, I am. Hello.
Hi.
How many of the graduates are going to graduate school?
I don't know.
Either teacher certificate or any other social science or anything.
Wait, before someone answers that, Dr. Dela Cruz, did you want me to put you in a break room with Holly so you guys can chat about Holly's work with the Nakbayan?
I'm sorry?
Did you want me to put you and Holly in a breakout room so you guys can chat together?
Yeah, that would be nice.
Okay, I'm going.
And, actually, maybe I should just, I don't know if she's open to sharing her phone number. It's probably easier for me to give her a call
Okay.
in a few minutes.
She can message it to you. And if not, I can send it to you too.
Okay.
Okay.
Holly, you got it?
Yes. Let me message right now. Give me a sec.
Not to everyone, unless you want all of us to call you.
But Enrique, do you know how to use the chat function? Can you see Holly's message in the chat box?
Please chat.
That's the bottom.
I'm not quite sure how you do this.
At the bottom where it says chat, the bottom of the screen, there should be a little button that says chat.
Or Gamble, can you
know what?
text it to him?
I
Go
can,
ahead and put them in the, I don't think he knows what the breakout room means. So go ahead and put them in it and just see how it goes. I think he'll understand it once you put them in the, but then he has to,
yeah, it's okay. I will email, I will email the phone number right now to
okay.
Yes.
Okay, that sounds good.
Thank you, JP, for coming.
Thank you, everyone. I'm sorry I have to leave, but again, thank you so much for truly all that I've received from all of you. And I hope I will see you all in Sierra Hall when things are a little bit more normal.
Oh, can't wait to see you.
Can't wait to see you,
JP,
JP.
if I
Good
may,
luck with everything.
Thank you.
JP, if I may, we're
Yes.
we're lucky to have you in the world and continuing this work. That was really powerful and inspiring, and look forward to being a part of the greenhouse.
Oh, thank you so much. And again, I'm so glad that our department continues to grow with new faculty building on the wonderful foundation that I received from all the faculty who still seem like bright-eyed assistant professors, but are now distinguished full professors. Bye-bye, everyone.
Bye.
And
all right, thank you, everyone. Good show. And yeah, send me Teresa, if appreciate it if you just text me or send me by email. It kind of send me by email her phone number. Okay. All right. Thank
Good
you.
to see you, Enrique. Always glad to have
Good
you
Enrique.
here.
Love those photos with your granddaughter.
Yeah. Prossy has been doting over her.
Please be well. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
So nice to see Jason, Holly, Leanne, Malia, Jesse, Micah. So congratulations, you guys. Amazing.
Congratulations. We're so proud of you.
And how lucky we are in AAS to have such amazing students and student leaders. So
Jason Alvarenga is actually a freshman from EOP, everyone. He's one of my students, and it's like amazing. Like, he's the one that brings in the energy in all of our classes. So thank you.
Wonderful.
I can see the energy by looking at the picture right now.
So if you haven't taken AAS 347, Asian American Politics and Law, I'm the one, please.
Well, you know what? I better not say that. Professor Hutchinson is a better and more wonderful professor, but take it from me. He's more popular and students love him more, but take it from me.
EOP.
That was good.
And you have to go take a nap then.
I can't. I have two kids. I'm so happy that no one cried, no one fought. It's quiet in the background.
Y'all did a great job. Thank you, Jason, for the,
Jason,
all the technical magic.
Jason, it was great.
And then
what we can do once you graduate? Don't graduate.
And Jesse and Malia and Skylar, also the spotlighting. Thank you so much. I hope I wasn't spotlighted when I was telling my daughter, don't use the blender. I'm gonna speak right in about 2 seconds. So I'm like, oh, I forgot. I kept my camera on.
So I was just gonna say, Une, I if I may, it's such a blessing to get to have been ushered in with you and to watch from this perch over here in San Francisco how you've held the department in this extremely upturned time. And I was sad to hear that you're retiring, although I know that doesn't mean you will not continue to be very much engaged. And this was also a very beautiful ceremony and amazing body of students, which is a testament to all of you and the teaching and the work you do in community. So it's quite inspiring.
Thank you so much.
And please hydrate and take good care of yourself. And I'm sure it's not COVID, but you should just take some good rest. It's been a long year. It's probably just all catching up.
Yeah, thank you. It's the last day in a sense. So I feel probably too kind of relaxed, feeling sick. Okay. Thank you so much for coming. I love you, love to see you when you come back. I'm not going away. So
absolutely, we'll definitely we'll see each other for sure.
Okay, well, shall we end it here?
Yes.
Or we can continue to enjoy one another's wonderful images and sit in awkward silence.
Well, I think I gotta go. Great.
Yeah, I need to go and take some rest.
Oh, Edith, you had to remind us. I was like, oh yeah.
Yeah.
Teresa, John is in the waiting room. I'm gonna let him in.
Okay. Oh,
Who?
John.
John.
Lee. John, we missed you, but we called your name. Where's John?
Wait, he's his audio is connecting.
Okay.
There he is.
Oh, John, congratulations. We missed you. We called your name and congratulated you. And I even said something in the chat like, hey, John.
Thank you. Sorry
How
to
long have
be
you been
late.
there? Promising transfer student, John, straight from Atlanta, right?
Oh, Atlanta.
Atlanta, yes.
Georgia.
Yeah, thank you guys.
Well, we are so proud of you and all the awardees. So, you know, those of you who are, did
Thank
Jason?
you, Amy.
Okay. But please apply again next year. Encourage your friends and colleagues to apply for the awards. Right? Just start thinking about it now. So, okay. Well, I am off. Again,
We'll see you next year.
Yep. See you all.
See you next year, Prosy.
Prosy, I sent Holly's number to your email.
Thank you again. Signing off. Bye.
Bye. I'm gonna end it now. Okay.